Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another flat tank tutorial. Today I'm going to be tying a stimulator. Okay, these are okay, here's one that I just did. Put in the vise for you. Very good pattern if you're doing dry droppers, large mayflies. These are really nice. The way I tie mine, I have an overwing and an underwing both. I'll explain that here in a few minutes. So let's get started. For hook we have a size, it is a size 10, basically a streamer hook. Here, size 10 streamer hook. Pretty long shank. You're gonna have a lot of materials on this. There are endless options with this fly, as far as color, as far as the hook. I mean, you could use a regular hook, you can use a arched hook, like has an arch, continuous arch in the back, all different kinds. Colors are endless. You can use, I don't know how many different kinds of dubbing you can use. You want to have a contrast from the front and the back. I'll show you here. You can tie cilia legs into it if you want. So we'll kind of talk about that. But in all, it is a very good fly. It floats really well. You can even tie these using foam. Wrap the body with foam, and it makes it even more buoyant. So start off. Again, thread is whatever color you want to make it. I'm going to use the olive because the front part of this is going to be olive color, or the olive color dubbing, green olive, okay? And the back is going to be this like brownish, they call it Duracell brown, okay? Brownish type dubbing for the back. So first off, so you got your hook in the vise. You're going to start at probably about 1/3 the way back. This is going to kind of tell you where your body is going to stop and where your front part of the fly is going to start. Also, we're going to put your wings in. So bring it all the way to the back. Okay. And kind of bring it back up to that 2/3 or 2/3 way up the hook right here. Now, want to use some deer hair for the tail. Now, I've seen different videos where you can use deer hair, you can use goose biots. I like using deer hair. So you take a little bit off of your tuft of deer hair, and it's not going to be a huge tail, okay? Take a little bit off. Make sure before you put deer hair on, take a little brush. If you can see, there's a lot of this stuff in the back. It's the fluff. You can see it real well, okay? It's called the fluff. It is actually what absorbs water and what's going to sink the fly. So brush that stuff out, okay? Again, this is a tail, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you want, put in your stacker. Get it somewhat even, okay? Bring it out, like I said, the tail does not, I repeat, does not have to be perfect. The way I like to do it, you want your tail nice and stubby, like maybe 1/4 of a way. So lay that down, you switch hands, and where you started that thread, come in, trim it off, okay? So when you bring your thread back, you capture it back here, capture it lightly, because the more tension you put on deer hair, the more it will flare out. Bring it back. Okay, once you got it down, then you can kind of start, tightening a little bit more. Bring it back up, okay? Bring up that tie point again. Now, you're gonna need a wire rib because you're gonna be putting a hackle on here. You're gonna be palmering the hackle one way, bringing the wire back the other way to secure it. So, bring the wire, capture it, bring it up here, okay? And you're done. Now, again, with a stimulator, you can tie whatever colors you want, okay? You can tie it to represent, you can tie it to be an attractor, you can tie it just to be a strike indicator. Because if you do a dry dropper, this floats in the water, and when this dives under, set your hook, you got a fish. Okay, so that's about it. So for the hackle, I'm going to be using a grizzly whiting. It's a grizzly whiting grizzly hackle. It's kind of like it's a neck, so you have varying sizes. You want to pick out the size. Don't want the hackle to be too long. You kind of undersize it pretty good amount. So you get a nice long hackle that's nice and small. Okay. Kind of measure to see that's about what you want. If you can see that, that's about what you want. Come back to the fluff of the dry fly. Always use dry fly for this. Always use dry fly hackles. Don't want to use wet flies because they will sink. They're meant to soak in. Okay. Actually, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. Dubbing. All right. This is we're going to use this dubbing right here for the back. Okay. Again, you can use just about any kind of dubbing you want. Okay. When I first started tying, I had issues with just globbing too much dubbing onto the thread. Little at a time. Less is better. Okay. The old adage, less is better. And I learned that the hard way. Trust me. So get that on there. Get your dubbing noodle. Okay. Cinch your. Okay. When you bring it, nice and easy. Okay. If you have to, kind of like tighten the dubbing a little bit. If you don't have enough, come back to your dubbing. Strip off a little bit more. Okay. Again, less is better. Okay. Get on your hook, because if you try to put too much dubbing on the thread, at once, you're gonna have a big glob. It's not gonna lay down right, and you're gonna smack yourself for it. So again, bring it up. Okay. Nice body. All right. Now you tie in your hackle. So already stripped off, tied in like on an X, what they call X wrap. Okay. Bring it down, get it taut. Okay. Clip that out of the way, because all that's going to do is get in your way big time. Now, what you want to do is you're going to palmer this. When I say palmer, I mean wrap around the fly going backwards. Now, you can either, again, use your rotary feature, you can wrap it by hand, or you can use hackle pliers. Okay, this feather's fairly long, so I'm just going to basically do hackle plier or by hand. Once around the front, start coming backwards. Okay. Make sure you keep a hold of this, because if you don't, it's going to come unraveled and you're going to be starting all over again. Bring it all the way back. Find your wire. Okay, this is where you kind of have to be a little bit good with your fingers here. Okay. Capture the hackle. Now, you're going to kind of go back up, but fish the wire through the hackle, okay? And it doesn't matter what color wire you use. You could use like a hot pink or whatever you want to use, because it's not going to really, pretty much this is just keeping that hackle in place. It's because once the stem gets bent or it gets whatnot, okay, you're up to the front, capture a wire, okay, 2-3 turns. Okay, now basically this is thin enough wire, you can just pull it off. Some of the other wires you're gonna need to helicopter it. Okay, get that part, then you come in with your scissor and nip off this rear section of the hackle you tied in, nip that off. Okay, that's what it looks like so far. Now you want to basically make a little ramp, meaning cut the hackle, the fibers, at an angle when you tie the wing. I'll show you why. Okay, got that. Okay, now your wing again is deer hair. So deer hair again. You could use two different color deer hairs. I mean, you could mix this up. There are so many options and variables. It is unreal. So if it was me, I would be using the cilia legs. I'd be kind of getting it all funky. But these flies are for my father, so he's just learning how to use a stimulator as far as dry dropper. So just give him something. This is kind of like gonna imitate some things, not everything. With fly fishing, a lot of times you're imitating something. You're not truly, you're matching the hatch sometimes, but again, then you're sometimes using attractor flies. You're sometimes using just, totally off the wall. The fish will eat. It's all about what they want to eat. Put in your stacker. Again, I already took out the fluff, brushed out the fluff. Okay. Excuse me. Now, you're going to lay this down. This is where the ramp comes in handy. Want those fibers to come no more than the length or the back of the hook shank. Bring it up, kind of pinch it with your fingers, come down, loose, and pull. A couple times, pull. A couple times, pull. Okay. Now, to really get this locked in, take a few of the fibers, bring them back, a couple turns, pull. A few of the fibers, bring it back, a couple turns, pull. Bring everything back, a few of the fibers, pull. Okay. Now, you're going to have, this is where you're going to have to separate the butts. And you can clean this up too. There's, okay. Trim all this off as close as you can get it. Okay. Get any stragglers, get them cut off, really simple to do. Just be careful you don't cut your thread, which I have done. Got some stragglers. Okay, got some stragglers there. Get it kind of, to where you need it. Now, you can basically be taking, where'd that come from? Real big straggler. Okay. Hold this back. Now you're going to kind of like tie down all of these butts. Okay, tie down really well. Okay. All right, now, this again is an option for people out there if you want to do this. I found this video from my friends at, what the heck is it called? I can't think right now. Oh, Fly Fish Food. This is their style stimulator. They tie it with a high vis wing, meaning you're going to be able to pick this out in the water very easily. Represents a wing as well. Okay, you're going to need to use, it's called, find it right here. You need something polypropylene yarn. Okay, you need something that kind of like floats. Polypropylene yarn floats. Okay, white is your best. This is oyster white. You can regular white. You could use orange. You could use, yellow. Whatever you want. Okay, flip out or tear out a strand of it and kind of split it in half. It's kind of splay it in half. Okay, because you don't need all that at once. Okay. This is just going to be for a wing, the high vis part. You're going to trim this, so don't worry. Okay, get it in there. Okay, lay it on right about here. Okay. Loose wrap to get it kind of, a couple wraps. Now what you're going to do, you're going to take this, pull it back, double it over, it locks it in, plus it makes it lay down. Makes the wing lay down so it's not sticking up really high. Again, trim it off about the wing length. Okay, still being stubborn, just come in with your thread, go over top. Okay, now it's kind of like all bulky, so take a little comb, and you can buy these just about anywhere. It's a comb and a brush. Okay, brush it backwards, kind of helps blend everything in. And again, once this hits the water, you'll be able to see this. It will stick out like a sore thumb. Trim your few straggler threads. All right, now for the head of this. Again, you could use the same kind of hackle. Might want to go a little bit smaller for the head because it's up in the front. Okay, I use the same color grizzly. You could use whatever your little heart desires. Okay, this fly has a multitude of different variations, everything. So you're gonna have to tie this in right here at the back, cinch it down, okay? Clip off your, okay. Now, this is when we want to make this a little bit prettier, okay? So, and again, stop a little short of the head so you can build, build that up, you have room. And again, like I said, never, ever, 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 ever crowd the head. Always give yourself some room. A stimulator fly has like a angled front head, hence why it's like it angles down like this, okay? Come back. And again, this is your choice of dubbing. You use whatever your heart desires. The one I tied before had like a pink-ish type head. Okay, I figured, I'll try something different. This is Wapsie, okay. Dry fly dubbing. All right. It is olive green color. Again, less is more. Take a little bit off. Put it on. Roll it onto your thread. Okay, just roll it onto your thread just like that. Perfect. Okay. Bring this up. Okay. Okay. Get a little bit on there. Now you want to take your other hackle and palmer it forward. I figured out what happened. Okay, you got to watch everything doesn't slip forward because everything is on an angle right now. Okay. Bring it in. Capture it. Okay, bring it in, capture it. All right, trim it off. Snip off that tip part. Okay. And again, clean up the head of the fly. Get it nice and smooth. Okay. Got your whip finish tool. Bring it in. Snip it off, clean up the head a little bit, a couple stragglers, take some cement, some glue, a little bit of cement glue, okay. All right, and that is your finished stimulator, okay. Again, it is a awesome dry fly in itself, but it also works really well as a indicator if you're doing dry droppers. Works really well. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you again.